On this second section, we're given a set of different functions in different formats, as you can see, and then we're being asked to write whether it's a function or not. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this first set. Remembering that for it to be a function, it has to have, each input has to be attached to only one output. So on this first one, we have a 1 to a 4, a 2 to a -2, a 3 to a 5, and a 4 to a -3. So it looks like all of our inputs are different, so that would produce a function. On the second one, we have a 0 to a 7, an 8 to a -2, a -2 to an 8, and a 6 to a 1. And this has all of our inputs are different, so that means we're going to have a function. Third one, we have a 4 to a 6, a 3 to a -1, a 4 to a 2, and a 6 to a 6. So we're seeing here we have a 4 and a 4, and two different we have a 6 here, but then we have a 2 here. So that is a problem. So we can't have different outputs for an input. So this is not. All right. We have a 6 and a 1, a 4 and a 2, a 6 and a -3. So again, we're running into, we have a 6 and a 6. And if this is here as a 1, if the next one was also a 1, that would be okay, but we have a -3, so this is not a function. All right. We have a 5 and an 8, a 3 and a 2, a -2 and a -5, and a 0 and a 0. So this one here is going to be a function. So when we have on this next set, these next two, we have a graph, which we can now use the vertical line test. So I'm going to go ahead and create a vertical line for our test. So if I were to take this vertical line and I were to drag it across my graph, in order for it to be a function, it can only touch one dot on the graph at a time. So we see here, if I pause right here, the vertical line is only touching one of the objects. So we see here it's only touching one, only one, only one, only one. So that is going to be a function. Now if I take this same vertical line and I take it over to our next graph, we see here that no matter where I put the vertical line, so let's go ahead and highlight here. So if I have a vertical line here and a vertical line here, we have the vertical line is touching in more than one place, so this makes it not a function. All right, now here we have a set of inputs. These are our inputs and these are our outputs. So if we see this -2 to a 1, a 1 to 2, 5 to -4, and -3, we have 4 different inputs and 4 different outputs. So that can give us a function. And then on here we have, on this next one, we have x and y. So if we notice in this first example, we have a 5 going to a 4 as an input and a 5 going to a 1, which would say that there is 2 outputs being created from one input. So that makes this not a function.